Hey, greetings everybody, and welcome to Ben's Album Challenge here on the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So here we are, Ben's Album Challenge. Now on every second week. I'm alternating this, giving it a little bit of a freshener so that we're not getting so tired of the same thing. So we're going to space it out a bit. And for those of you who don't know what we do here, I have a subscriber, a friend, Ben. So he picks an album, and I listen to it, give my opinion of it, pick a favorite song. Pretty much that's all we do, but he's given me a lot of really good stuff, and a lot of that stuff has expanded me into, sorry, my hat's crooked, has expanded me into other areas and gotten into it. This is another one of those albums we're going to do today. This is a band that I heard of in my younger years with my friend. He always found out these things before me, but there was a couple of bands, and one of those bands I got into about a year ago, and it could have been this band. It could have been this band or that band. But I was looking in the bins, and I decided I had enough money left on me to get one more album. And I looked at this band, and I looked at the other band, and I chose the other band. And the other band was Camel. This band is called Caravan. So they actually got kind of sidetracked. They probably could have got, if I gotten that album, I probably would have more of their stuff and less of Camel's right now. But however, it didn't work out that way. So I've got about 4 or 5 Camel albums, and I have none of this band's albums, but I did listen to the one given to me. The one he gave me today is In the Land of Gray and Pink, and I'm sure this is something that many viewers will know and heard. A Canterbury band, of course. Some similarities between them and Camel. They're both very mild in their approaches to music and prog. Not like really heavy, gritty stuff, but very mild, but very... this band, a little better lyrically, I think. Better lyrically, and a little bit quirky in their lyrics too. Very kind of almost that British kind of Monty Python types thing, saying little quirky things here and there, and lots of bits of sexual innuendo on their music as well. At least I see it. I don't know if it's actually there. Maybe I'm just seeing it. Anyways, very, very good instrumentation. Lots of it. Use a lot of different sounds here. Yeah, so before we get going on it, I'll just give you a little bit of information on it. I don't generally give a lot of information on this show, just talk about the album in general. This album was released in 1971 on the was recorded at Decca Air Studios in London, and was produced by David Hitchcock. The band: Richard Sinclair, Pye Hastings, David Sinclair, Richard Coughlin. Then you had Jimmy Hastings, Dave Grinstead, and John Borcham playing added instruments to it. So there's a lot of instrumentation on here, a fair bit. I think this band, pretty talented, more so than I would have thought when I listened to the first track, which is called Golf Girl. I thought it was kind of quirky, a bit British in its lyrics and sound. And I think it's kind of dominated a little bit by the Hammond organ. It's a piano and guitar here that kind of add that kind of background sound to the music. And I think there's a trombone, a little bit of a trombone part here too as well. And a bit making this sound a bit more quirky, a very British sounding album. Kind of, I don't think it sounds anything like this album, but kind of reminds me of Selling England by the Pound, and the resemblance between the two is not really there. It just, for some reason, the trombone and the sound of this particular song reminds me of that album. That's got a nice catchy flute, or possibly it could be a piccolo solo here in this song as well. I like this song to start out. Yeah, again, a little bit quirky in the lyrics. It's about a guy who's got kind of a fancy to golf girl. She's selling tea and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty interesting song. So the next song up, a little bit quirky as well, but a little bit more serious-minded, I think. Winter Wine, it's called. Catchy beat, some nice soloing here. Vocals again are a bit quirky, as I've said. Lyrics are also a bit odd, but overall I like this song a little bit better as well. I think for me the album gets better as it goes along. The next tune, Love to Love You, and Tonight Pigs Will Fly. Not really sure where they're going with this, but you can almost bet that it's a bit sexual in its innuendo. It's a bit more up-tempo, this album, this particular song. It's a catchy beat, of course. The lyrics, again, very tongue-in-cheek, saying kind of quirky stuff, but interesting song. I liked it. The fourth song is probably my least favorite on the album, but I did like it nevertheless. In the Land of Grey and Pink, another catchy beat. Drums are more frontal on this particular track than its predecessors, but the lyrics again quirky. Vocals are a bit British sounding, very British sounding. So this is probably my least favorite song on the album, between this and Golf Girl, but I liked them both, and so the rest are better. My favorite track is probably the last one. It took a bit for me to like it a lot, because it's the longest track too. Just around 22 minutes, a little bit longer than 22 minutes. Some great mellotron, Hammond organ, guitar, flute, saxophone on this, all doing different solos at different points. I mean, not just a little bit of a solo, but lengthy solos throughout this entire track. Really well put together as far as the soloing goes. You never got the feeling that you were listening to too much soloing. It's just it fit the music and fit the song very well. The guitar solo that's kind of halfway past, I think it's halfway past the middle part of the song, really catchy, really good. I really liked it a lot. And then it gets a bit heavy towards the end of this particular track. They kind of become a little bit more than they have been on the album, like pretty heavy guitar riffing and just like overall heaviness to the song towards the end of the song. So I liked almost all the songs about equal, but this one just a hair more. It was longer, more drawn out. The lyrics were a little bit more serious-minded. I think they were almost sad in some ways, subdued, but gave a different flavor than the other songs. So yeah, great track. I think the album itself is very good, and I'm kind of regretting a little bit that I didn't go back and get this album the next week. Could have been listening to a lot of their music over that time period. However, there's, like I've said in the past, there's only so much time in a day and only so many albums you can listen to. So, if you want to get in and develop a kind of interest in a particular band, you got to spend quite a bit of time with them, and that means there's going to be some bands you just don't have time for. This was one of those bands, but it seems to be getting its time now, and I guess that's what matters. So I thank Ben for selecting this album for me to do this week. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you get a chance to listen to this album. It's well worth the listen. For those of you who are well familiar with Caravan, I can see what it is that you like so much about them. So anyways, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we will be back in 2 weeks' time with another Ben's Album Challenge. Next week we're going to be doing the new show that me and Ben have set up to do, and we'll get into that when we get there next week. And it's going to alternate with Ben's Album Challenge. So we will see you next week with that. So take care and have a good day.